find it. I was
Yeah, I'd love to
basically
see
just
that.
cracking up the whole time. I was just
Yeah,
like, and then when you got to Roger, of course, I was
yeah.
that was pretty good because I can't do a Roger Yates impersonation. I thought that was so
Yeah.
wonderful.
Well, he has quite a distinctive type of English accent. It's somewhere up. I
New
can't place
Yorkie.
exactly where it is, but it's somewhere up north or in the Midlands. But
He's from Yorkshire.
he's from Yorkshire, is he? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
He doesn't actually have a. Considering I now know from what you've told me, he's from Yorkshire. He doesn't actually have a strong Yorkshire accent. There's actually
yeah, he used
a
to
lot.
when he was still my friend. He used to do an impersonation of his own brother and do the Yorkshire accent, and I couldn't
Right.
understand anything he was saying. I couldn't understand. It didn't sound like English to me.
Yeah.
So
So he has actually, now that I know he's from Yorkshire, from what you've just told me, he actually has quite a mild accent for that region. Because if you went to Yorkshire, Sky, when you were here, yeah, you probably wouldn't. I'll give you an example of something that they do in Yorkshire, right? Instead of saying like, if a word comes before the word they will like join the word and it will be like apostrophe T. So it won't be like, I'm going to the pub. They'll say, I'm going to pub. I'm going to
going
pub.
to pub. I'm going to
Going
pub.
to pub. And that, so, say they're saying there's something under the table. They'll say it's under table. Look at that. That's under table.
He said this thing to close the door would to put the wood in the hole, and he'd say, "Put the wood oil," and I'm like, "Put the wood toil." And I was like, how could you ever understand each
Yeah.
other? I mean, it's really remarkable. I read Bill Bryson's book about the British English, how British English developed, and I found it fascinating because people back then were when before cars, you were separated by time in ways that was kind of unfathomable. Someone in Kent couldn't understand someone who in London because they were separated by so much distance. For them, it was such a great distance. But today, I don't know how you guys have kept your accents. Most Americans kind of talk the same way. Our regional accents have they've dissipated. It's rare that I meet someone from New York who really talks like he's from New York.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't. They don't. It's
What,
rare that I really hear that.
Well, that's the only time I've ever been to America was New York, and yeah, I didn't really come across the New York accent that much, actually, if at
Yeah,
all. I don't actually remember, talking to someone who had the actual New York accent.
yeah.
It's definitely been, I think, kind of watered down a lot, and I think it's now very much restricted to just a small amount of the white working class there. Like you might hear like the builders and stuff in there talking that
Yes.
accent.
Mhm.
Everyone I spoke to on the street doing outreach and stuff, because it was for an activism event. No one who I spoke to actually had that accent.
Especially if you're in Manhattan, it's like our version of BBC English. Everyone kind of speaks an English that we can understand. But
Right.
if you go to the boroughs,
Yeah.
like the outer count, like if you go to the Bronx,
Yeah.
you'll go to a park and do outreach, you'll hear it because they'll people in the boroughs still because it's a sense of pride of their place too that they want to, and I think that that's what happens in England where someone they have this sense of pride of place where they want to have yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think, a teacher, you should have included women in your routine.
I
Yeah,
can't, Katie. I can't impersonate women. Like, and women are very pretty rubbish at impersonating men at all. I could do a woman's accent, but it just wouldn't you wouldn't think it was that woman because of my voice. So there's no woman in the vegan movement I can impersonate. It just won't sound like them. The impression will just be crap. But you know what, Katie? I will give you a little present. So next time I do something like that, I'll try and do a double act with a female who's good at impressions. I'll try and find one, and we could do like a little comedy double act on stage where we impersonate male and female activists together. That would be
yeah.
funny.
You could do the Jamie Logan. What the hell is up, guys? You could
Right. See,
do.
there you go. Right. That should be an example. Okay. So Sky just perfectly impersonated Jamie Logan.
Yeah,
Her accent, everything,
yeah.
what she says. but it's a man's voice, so
Right.
it didn't. No one could tell that it's just some guy going, "What the hell is up, guys?" Like,
Yeah.
so,
What the hell is up, guys?
right?
Also,
So,
you gotta have the energy too. But
yeah.
Katie, what's her name? Katie Porter. Who's the one, the evil one that was in the Oxford House thing that said all this stuff about cauliflower cocks and all of that?
Oh,
I've seen some
what
good
is that
impersonations of
dude's?
her. Katie Potter, or Katie Porter, Katie Parker, something like that.
I know exactly who you.
The one, she's had major brain surgery. I was sitting there laughing through her monologue about how what an idiot she is, and then I look her up. She's had a major part. Hopkins,
Katie Hopkins. Yes, yes.
Jimmy. I'm Jimmy Logan. Yeah, Katie Hopkins was so. It was ridiculous to think that like I felt bad about laughing at her because she might be physically disabled. Like she might actually be handicapped and that we're all
Mm.
just laughing at this person. You know how like when people were laughing at Dudley Moore for making fun of because he would play a drunk and he was like actually deteriorating. The people were just laughing, just yucking it up about how funny he was when he pretended to be drunk, but he was actually deteriorating mentally.
I'm not actually familiar with the case, so I don't know, unfortunately. But I know, but
You know who Dudley
I can
Moore is.
understand your analogy. Who more?
Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore. I don't. Who is that?
He and Peter Cook and Dudley Moore were like these huge English comedy duo. He famously played a movie called Arthur, where Dudley Moore played a drunk rich Englishman living in New York.
What
He,
decade was this?
70s, 80s, I
Oh,
think.
but come on! I'm 34.
Well, shit. I mean, I'm only 44. I know who Dudley fucking Moore is. I mean, I'm surprised you don't because you like comedy, not because of your age. I think
Yeah.
that
Okay.
I think that you would enjoy Dudley Moore and Peter Cook. I
Right.
mean, what's his face? Brand, Russell Brand. His hero is Peter Cook in
Mm.
it, one half of that duo. But anyway, Dudley Moore was famous for playing a drunk on TV, and so he
Right.
kept playing that act. But over time, he developed a neurological disorder that made him behave drunk, and people thought he was doing his act. And
Yeah.
he's like, "No, I'm not doing my act. I'm actually deteriorating." And
Right. And you think that could be happening to Hopkins?
yes,
Right. Yeah. Well, I've known her for she's been a bit of a mainstay on UK TV here, probably since about 2000 and I'm going to say about 2012 or something. She first made it kind of on TV here. She's what we call in the UK a renter gob. A renter gob is someone who a gob is UK slang for a mouth. I don't know if you guys use the same term there. So a mouth that you rent for a TV show to
oh
just
yeah, yeah,
spout crazy opinions.
mm.
She became famous here because
A
she was on
shill.
a show here for this. I think it was the This Morning or Good Morning Britain or something. This is I think her first appearance on TV, and she just sort of went off about how she judges people by their name. She judges children by their names, and she won't allow like if one of her kids says, "Mum, so and so's coming around today," she'll be like, "No, so and so can't come around today because of the name that they have."
Because Philip,
Uh,
I don't invite Phillips to my house.
right, that kind of thing. Although she would like Philip, so it was basically a classist thing. So she would like
Abduls and
names.
things like that she wouldn't like.
Yeah, maybe an Abdul. She didn't actually mention. See, the Abdul thing would more play into the racism thing. She
Mm.
was more going into a classism thing. So she was talking actually mainly about it could be like white working class kids with kind of like
Mac.
what what could be considered what you guys would call like maybe trailer park names or might be called like chavvy
Mm.
names here. So she's saying she won't let her kids associate with kids who don't have basically these kind of like posh names, these kind of middle class
Mm.
names and these traditional names.
So a Nigel gets to come over, but a Billy Bob doesn't get to come over.
Right, that sort of thing. That sort of
Mm.
thing. And the presenter caught her out actually, because one of the things she said was, one of the tackiest ones is, these kids who are named after places, Brooklyn or something like that. And the presenter said, "Your daughter's called India." And she was like, well, yes, but that's different, you see. So he caught her out with that one.
See, this is where I think that people like that they've spent so much time playing this circus act that if she's actually suffering from cognitive impairment due to her lobotomy, then we wouldn't know. She's just like, oh, that's just Katie. She's acting funny because
Right.
that's her
Yeah.
shtick, but really she's suffering.
Yeah.
That's
And
that's
I also just want to quickly ask, because you mentioned him a moment ago, are you guys in the States on top of the whole Russell Brand stuff? Did you hear about all the drama with him lately?
Well, yeah. I mean, he was taken off of YouTube. He's recently come back, so I have been following it mostly because he's a vegan, with
Mhm.
air quotes. I'm not. He's a vegan celebrity. Whether we,
Yeah.
um, but I know that he's had like sexual allegations. But the thing that I've always found weird about that is that he wrote two books about all the weird crazy shit that he did, paying women for sex and like all these things that he's done, and then we're like, oh, what a surprising thing that he has done this. Like,
Mm.
I don't know, what's your take?
Yeah, my take is, look, until there's actually a conviction about something, I won't jump on the
Or
whole,
a formal accusation, that would be nice. Like, it seems weird that there's not a formal accusation, but he's been taken off of YouTube. He's had his money taken, messed with.
yeah. Yeah.
Seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I won't jump on any kind of bandwagon of just accusing someone if all it is at the moment is just accusations. But when you consider he's had like a really weird life and was a sex addict and has bedded however many God knows women,
Hmm.
all I can say is it's not surprising that you're going to get some accusations from that. A guy with his
Yeah.
weird, sleazy kind of background, right?
I
Sort of
read
right.
his book. There's a part of his book where he's jerking off a junkie in the public men's room, a man, for a laugh.
And not only is that in his book, Sky, you can actually watch that episode on YouTube where he does that,
Yeah.
because it was part of I think the show was it Rebrand? It might have been called Rebrand, and it was in 2002. And the episode is called Wanky Wanky. And he literally, yeah, he was doing it he was just, I think, high the whole time or dry. He was just screwed the whole time. He was an addict.
Yeah.
And it just starts off with him in the back of a London cab, and he just says to the camera, so today what I'm going to do is this. And he just says that he's going to do this. And yeah. And you see him go into the pub, and he get the guy that his participant, the guinea pig for the experiment, and they sort of go into the cubicle, and then I'll let you watch it, but or I'll even send you the episode. Actually,
I've never seen it, but I have read the part of the book, and it's like when you read that, you can't help but be a little shocked. I'm sure it was shocking for everyone at home. Oh dear. Everyone immediately becomes a royalist after that. They're like, "Oh, we've got to keep the moral center of this nation intact." Like, I can imagine.
Well, this was such a grubby show that no one in the UK really knew of it. I think it was on like Channel 4. It was one of those stupid shows that are on at like 10 past midnight or something like that.
They're first like a stoner show, right? It's like,
Right. So these shows seem to have kind of gone off UK TV now. We don't really have them now in the digital age because the late night shows are much more quality programming, I think. But back in the noughties and stuff, and in the 90s, whenever the clock kind of went past midnight and it was on a weeknight, there was all this sorts of crap on that would be like 15 minutes long, 10 minutes long. There could be like short movies. They could just be like crappy, low budget documentaries, whatever they were. And that was one of them. And no one knew who Russell Brand was at the time. He was just some weirdo who you could watch past midnight on a Tuesday or whatever it was. So
he's
no
like the
one knew.
Jackass. It's like the English version of Jackass, sort of, except he was a bit funnier. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
maybe.
a bit more sexual too. But that's like
Yeah.
Europeans always. How, you didn't do any Americans though, did you? You didn't do any American impersonations.
Oh, I did plenty.
Did you? Maybe I
Yeah,
missed them.
I
I was
did
watching.
Gregor. I did lifting vegan logic.
Oh, you did lift a vegan logic. That's
Yeah.
true.
Um,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
Um, there
You did.
was
Wait, is Lift a
uh,
Vegan Logic? He's not Canadian. Is he American? Yeah, maybe
I
he's
think
American.
he's American. There was
Huh.
one Canadian in there. There was Vegan Gains.
Vegan Gains. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, no, there was a few Americans in there.
Okay.
So yeah. Don't worry, there was equal representation actually when you watch it back. It was a mixture of Aussies, Brits, Americans, Canadians. It was all good.
People were dying about. My favorite was the Roger Yates, of course, but the Paul Bashir was the one that I think everyone was really, yeah, because
I like doing the Paul Bashir one. Yeah.
when I said you were going to be on the show, everyone's like, "Gotta Paul Bashir! Oh my god, he did the Paul Bashir! It was so funny," and yeah, I liked it. All right, well, I appreciate you coming by. We went a little over. I'm sorry. I told you it was going to be a half hour. It was an hour. I'm sorry to
No problem. It was fun. It was good.
have stolen some of your time. Thank you so much for being here. And but I got to say goodbye, so I can say goodbye to everybody else.
Yep, sure. Yeah, thank you, Sky, and yeah,
Thanks,
have
George.
a good rest of the day.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you soon. I hope, man.
All right then, cool. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, George Martin, there he is. You know, what a mensch. What a guy. What a great guy.